Hey folks, Tennessee Brando with the MeidasTouch Network. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves about the MAGA Republican Party is that there is absolutely zero consistency amongst them. They hold us to the highest of standards, and they have absolutely no standards whatsoever for their own. And I guess this goes back further than just MAGA. It's been around for a while. I'm sure y'all remember the whole Barack Obama and the tan suit scandal, and Barack Obama asking for Dijon mustard. I mean, they made those things out like Obama wasn't even fit to serve for president because he did those things. So I guess it's been around for a while. But now we're seeing Ron DeSantis, who does his own knockoff version of Donald Trump politics, complaining and griping over the way that John Fetterman dresses. Yeah, take a look at this ridiculous clip and let's talk about it.
So did you guys hear the U.S. Senate just eliminated its dress code because you got this guy from Pennsylvania who's got a lot of problems. I mean, let's just be honest, like how he got elected. Well, I mean, he got elected because they didn't want the alternative, but he wears like sweatshirts and hoodies and shorts, and that's his thing. So he would campaign in that, which is your prerogative, right? I mean, if that's what you want to do. But to show up in the United States Senate with that and not have the decency to put on proper attire, I think it's disrespectful to the body. And I think the fact that the Senate changed the rules to accommodate that, I think speaks very poorly to how they consider that. Look, we need this country, we need to be lifting up our standards in this country, not dumbing down our standards in this country. And this is an example why.
So who's going to tell him? Who's going to take him back and show him all the footage of Lauren Boebert? Who's going to take him back and show him all the footage of his own party who has no standards whatsoever? You know, that style of politics is getting really old with people. That style of rhetoric is getting really old because we see people like Ron DeSantis get up on this moral high ground and try to talk about standards and try to cast stones and pass judgment on John Fetterman, and yet he is in a party that has no standards whatsoever. Standards is just a word they love to throw around to act like they're high and mighty. Morals and values is a catchphrase for them. They have no morals and values. It's all just cliches and talking points geared at their audience. And like I said at the start of this video, it goes back much further than this. It goes all the way back to him saying, oh, George W. Bush was a guy you'd just love to have a beer with. No matter what they do, they find a way to condone it or play it down. With Lauren Boebert, she just got excited at Beetlejuice. She just is a little over-animated sometimes. She just was having a good time. She didn't mean no harm. If Donald Trump came out tomorrow dressed like Marilyn Manson, sorry for putting that image in your head, but if he did, they would say, oh, Trump's trying to get in touch with the goth crowd. Trump's trying to, get some young voters excited. They would spin it any way they could possibly spin it to condone their own. That's why that style of politics is so tiring and so old. These catchphrases, these cliches, these stage props that MAGA Republicans use, this rhetoric that they use and do so well, it has no substance. There's nothing there for voters. There's nothing there that affects our lives and how we live every day. There's nothing there for our health care. There's nothing there for our well-being. There's nothing there for our future. There's nothing there for our children's future. There's nothing there for the gay and trans community's future. There's nothing there for people of color's future. There's nothing there for women's future. No, if he wants to talk about standards, the last thing on earth he should be worried about is how John Fetterman dresses. The last thing he should be worried about is a hoodie. Because the standards that they've accepted reminds me of an old saying that my grandpa used to say to me all the time. He'd say, those people over there would gag at a gnat and swallow a camel. And what he meant by that was, they would act appalled by something small, but yet they would embrace something much bigger. And that's what Ron DeSantis and all these MAGA Republicans have done. They'll sit here and they'll shout down John Fetterman for a hoodie. And yet they will accept a man who tried to overturn an election that they all know he lost. They will accept a man that tried to overthrow the government and incited a riot on our nation's capital. They will accept a man who took documents he wasn't supposed to have and bragged about it. They will accept a man that has 91 charges against him, 4 indictments, been found liable of sexual abuse. I know I'm going to forget some because there's so many things they've embraced. They've embraced every ounce of hateful rhetoric that's come out of his mouth. They found a way to spin it every time to give him a pass for it, but they're worried over John Fetterman and his hoodie, and boy, we need to raise ourselves to a higher standard. I don't give a damn tomorrow if every Democratic lawmaker in this country shows up in a bandana and a hoodie. I don't care at all if they do, as long as they roll up the sleeves of that hoodie and go to work for all of us and not just a few. They go to work for all of us and not just those with special interest. They go to work for all of us and not just those that look and sound like us. There is a group of people who will cling to that rhetoric from now on because Ron DeSantis hates the very people that they hate. And Ron DeSantis is working against the people that they hate and they don't understand. So they'll cling to that kind of rhetoric. But at the end of the day, those of you out there that are working and struggling to pay your bills, working and struggling to send your kids to school, working and struggling to make sure your children stay safe while they're at school, that kind of politics has got to be wearing thin. You have to start looking around going, wait a minute, maybe these people don't have my best interest at heart. Maybe they have some cliches that I like to say and repeat like I was at a WWE event, repeat like I was on the front row of WrestleMania, but you know what? This is getting me nowhere. When will people wake up and realize that that style of politics is getting them absolutely nowhere? And I would not have a problem with what Ron DeSantis said there if he actually would hold everyone to that standard. Did you hear the audience at the end all applauding? Yeah, they're all applauding in agreement with that. Okay, fine. Now, the next day, if they would hold their own to that kind of standard, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'd say, you know what? That's just how they believe. That's what they stand for. But they will turn a blind eye to everything I just mentioned, and they will give everyone on their side of the aisle a pass. And it's absolute and utter bullshit to anyone who's paying attention. And to anyone who cares about the future of our country and the future of democracy, that style of politics is getting old, and that style of politics has no place in the political arena any longer. Can we please get back to having real discussions about the real issues at hand? Can both candidates bring ideas to the table based on data and research, lay them on the table, and talk about them and decide what is best for the country instead of, well, I'm going to go with this guy over here because that side is absolutely insane and off their rocker. A hoodie. He's worried after everything that he's done, after all the rights he's stripped away, after turning Florida into what he's turned Florida into, and he wants to take that to the national stage, and he's worried about a hoodie. Don't ever tell me again that both sides are the same. And anytime someone tells you that both sides are the same, point to this kind of rhetoric and remind them that no, both sides are not the same at all. So folks, keep hitting that subscribe button here on MeidasTouch and get these videos out there. I really appreciate your all's support here on the network. Love doing videos here. You guys keep tuning in, and old Tennessee Brando will keep trying to tell you the truth.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.